Attorney General Pam Bondi claimed that if not for Donald Trump seizing fentanyl at the border, 75% of all Americans could be dead. But hey, don't threaten us with a good time.
In an interview at the New York Times, JD Vance was repeatedly asked if Donald Trump lost the 2020 election. Let's see how he handled it.
I'm going to ask you again, did Donald Trump lose the 2020 election?
And I've answered your question with another question.
Then Vance offered to move the interview under a bridge so he could answer in the form of a riddle.
Michael Chay never eases his way into commentary. He just charges straight in like a comedy gladiator who swapped out the sword for a mic. He goes after Trump and JD Vance with this crazy precision, like he's been training for this exact moment forever. Every joke hits like a meteor. Every comeback slices through the nonsense, and the punchlines land with that wild, chaotic energy that makes you sit up and go, oh damn, he really said that.
Zelensky has said that if President Trump provides Ukraine with Tomahawk missiles, he will nominate Trump for a Nobel Peace Prize. You know, the prize they give you for selling missiles. There was outrage this week over a leaked group chat between Republican leaders which praised Hitler and referred to black Americans as watermelon people.
I just feel like as a Catholic, Trump's photo just feels slightly disrespectful. Also, if Trump really wants to be Pope, he should probably stay away from JD Vance.
He didn't waste a single second either. He just stormed into the whole circus around Trump and JD Vance like a tornado crashing into a fragile display shelf. Whatever dignity they thought they still had, gone. Trump stood there with the confidence of a man who seriously believes his hair could run for office on its own. Meanwhile, he looked completely unaware that common sense packed its bags and left the room years ago.
President Trump says Catholics loved an image he posted of him dressed as the Pope last week, but I just find it hard to believe that anyone in the Catholic Church would be into something so juvenile.
The White House also announced that Vice President JD Vance will travel to the Vatican for Pope Leo's inaugural Mass. And I'm not a huge fan of his outfit.
And while Trump was soaking in the spotlight, JD Vance lingered in the back trying to look like some deep political thinker. But it came out more like a toddler trying to look wise while holding a fork. Chay exposed every awkward attempt at seriousness, turning Vance's philosopher mode into pure comedy. It was like watching someone try to conduct a symphony with spaghetti noodles. Messy, chaotic, and unintentionally hilarious.
President Trump responded to a report showing the U.S. economy was declining by posting, "Be patient, and if his brain gets any worse, he's gonna be patient." President Trump impersonated a transgender weightlifter in a speech to graduates at the University of Alabama, which is a sentence so stupid it couldn't even get into the University of Alabama.
Trump's latest public appearance was basically a buffet of comedy material. The man strutted across that stage like people were cheering for his charm instead of pure confusion. Chay painted the whole scene like it was theater. Every dramatic hand wave, every too-perfect smile, every weird pause that felt designed to make the audience ask, is he okay? Chay exaggerated it all, just enough to show how ridiculous it already was.
Michael Cohen testified that Donald Trump's 3 oldest children were involved in putting together financial statements for his company. Ivanka wrote the summaries, Don Jr. put together the numbers, and Eric licked the envelopes.
Vance tried jumping in with these deep, serious lines, but Chay tore through them instantly. Every carefully rehearsed phrase fell apart under the spotlight, turning into unintentional humor. Vance, who always leans on his family story or his practiced speeches, ended up looking like a walking punchline. Chay's timing was so sharp, it almost felt unfair.
Vice President JD Vance, seen here watching the plane leave Greenland without him, continued his sad reboot of Veep this week by visiting our military base there and delivering the administration's clearest threat so far. Either Greenland joins the U.S., or the U.S. will keep sending them JD Vance.
Whenever Trump and Vance share a stage, it's like a perfect storm of ego and confusion, and Chay knows exactly how to spotlight every crack. Trump, drowning in his own confidence, somehow made Vance's awkwardness even more obvious. Chay pulled apart every contradiction, every over-the-top moment, turning the whole interaction into this surreal, hilarious dance, where their attempts to sound smart or authoritative just collapsed under the weight of their own theatrics.
That another alleged drug smuggling boat from Venezuela has been blown out of the water without warning. And you may not think that's a big deal right now, but one day soon, you'll look at yourself in the mirror and realize you're out of cocaine.
And this is where Chay really shines. He mixes real observations with wild exaggeration until the whole thing feels like a comedy movie. Trump's over-the-top confidence crashing into Vance's desperate seriousness creates this perfect rhythm of mistakes, each one falling into the next like dominoes. Chay grabs every tiny blunder and blows it up into a big comedic moment, turning ordinary political nonsense into a full-blown spectacle.
Trump responded to the fallout from his tariffs, saying sometimes you have to take medicine to fix something. Yeah, but this feels like we took a whole bottle of medicine with a glass of vodka and laid in a warm bath. It was reported that Elon Musk personally appealed to President Trump to stop his tariff plan, and it worked. The stock market went up like this.
Every little action becomes material. Trump's hand gestures look like dramatic stage moves. Vance's attempts at deep thinker energy instantly crumble into awkwardness, and Chay magnifies it all with this effortless wit. Even the bland moments turn into comedy gold. The more Trump improvises, the more chaotic it gets. And the more Vance tries to look serious, the funnier it becomes.
Trump criticized Time magazine for using a bad picture of him on the cover, saying, quote, "They disappeared my hair." And I gotta agree, that thing do look waxed.
John Bolton, who wants people to stop coming up to him to order chicken, has become the third person on President Trump's enemies list to be indicted.
Chay also zooms in on their speech patterns and body language. Those awkward pauses, the over-enunciated words, the stiff expressions. He stretches every mistake just enough to make it hilarious without losing the truth underneath. Trump's exaggerated confidence and Vance's desperate attempts at credibility clash so hard that the whole thing becomes an endless loop of comedy. And Chay makes sure not a single moment slips by unnoticed.
Yesterday, the devil went down to Georgia. No, I'm kidding. Donald Trump traveled to Georgia to survey the damage from Hurricane Helene, which is bold because nothing scares Trump more. It was reported that Donald Trump has refused to release his medical records, and I bet I know what he's hiding, but I'm not allowed dementia it.
Trump's whole public persona, the big gestures, the dramatic expressions, the look at me energy, gets blown up to maximum effect. Chay turns even the most normal actions into something theatrical. And Vance, who genuinely tries to project authority, ends up being the perfect opposite of Trump. Every time he tries to sound smart or composed, it just crashes into Trump's chaos and becomes even funnier.
Trump appeared at a town hall hosted by Univision where he was asked questions in both English and Spanish, which he answered in both English and louder English. During a rally in Atlanta, Donald Trump said that any black person who votes for Kamala Harris should have their head examined. But no matter who we vote for, I promise you, I am not going to therapy.
Chay keeps pushing the contrast between Trump's loud confidence and Vance's stiff seriousness, and every moment turns into another comedic setup. A small, awkward look becomes a whole joke. A weird pause becomes a scene. Every miscalculation becomes a full comedic beat. The whole narrative flows like a stream of non-stop punchlines, each one sharper than the last.
But this week was also the vice presidential debate between Mumford and Dad. This debate was so white it made me look Haitian. Now, the debates are apparently all finished, and I'm upset. How did we never get to see RFK Jr. in a debate? How were we robbed of that? I love that RFK Jr. admitted he dumped a dead bear in Central Park. He chainsawed the head off a dead whale, strapped it to the roof of his car like a Christmas tree, and he told us a worm was living in his brain, eating through his head, and still everyone is like, you know who's weird? JD Vance.
The more they talk and gesture, the more material Chay gets. Trump's big, dramatic gestures become cartoon-level performances. Vance's attempts at being the serious guy become symbols of someone trying way too hard. Chay exaggerates every tiny gap between what they think they're pulling off and what they're actually doing. And that gap? That's where all the comedy lives.
Insiders say that during a campaign stop in Pennsylvania tomorrow, Donald Trump will work the fry cooker at a McDonald's where he plans to deep fry the tip of his tie. Kamala Harris responded to Trump calling January 6th a day of love, saying that he is gaslighting us. But Kamala, you're just imagining things, baby.
By the end, every interaction becomes a stage show. Trump's overconfidence gets turned up to 11. Vance's awkward seriousness gets spotlighted, and the contrast between the two becomes this hilarious rhythm that never lets up. Chay turns their public blunders into a masterclass of exaggeration and timing, making even the smallest slip look like a major comedic event. And together, Trump and Vance end up looking less like political figures and more like characters in a perfectly absurd comedy that Chay narrates with absolute precision.